to thank, of course, our friends over at Firm, Isaias and Romel, as well as our brother Ruben with Church World Service, Pastors Q and James, who came all the way from LA to join us and to be a part of this, and through all of our allies that are here today and all of our partners. Thank you so very much for coming here. I want us to start first with a little bit of energy, let them know why we're here. And so we're going to do a chant, up, up with liberation, down, down with deportation. Up with liberation!
Down, down with deportation!
Up with liberation!
Down, down with deportation!
Up with liberation!
Down, down with deportation!
Up with liberation!
Up with deportation!
Up with liberation!
Up with deportation!
Down with deportation!
Down with deportation!
Up with liberation!
Up with liberation!
Down with deportation!
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 Woo-woo! So we want to make sure that people are clear that we're not here this week by accident. We picked this week. This week that starts with what some people call Columbus Day, what others call Indigenous Peoples Day, still others African Holocaust Day, a day when we get to remember who are the immigrants who came to pillage? Who are the immigrants who came to steal? Who are the immigrants who came to rob, who came to rape, who came to be criminals? Who are those immigrants? Because that's not the migrant tradition of black people in this country. That's not the migrant tradition of indigenous people in this country. That's not the migrant tradition of Asian people, Pacific Islander people in this country. There's only one group of people that have this migrant tradition. And they have that tradition here and every other place they've been. And because they are there, that's why we are here. Because they are there, that's why
We are here!
because they are there, that's why
We are here!
our tradition is a tradition of migration as a human right.
Yes.
If black people didn't migrate, there'd be no people on this planet. You know that, right? Because people started with us. And we decided that we would go out and explore, not to conquest, not to trash, but to visit. Every one of our stories, from Cairo all the way down to Johannesburg, from Accra all the way over to Addis Ababa, we treat the stranger with kindness. We treat the stranger with goodness. We learn that as children. And so imagine our shock and surprise when a country that says that it is welcome and open to everyone, when a country that puts out the image of the Statue of Liberty as what an immigration policy is. Imagine the shock when black asylum seekers come to this country trying to claim asylum as is allowed under U.S. and international law. Imagine the shock when they are instead grabbed, their faces thrown against the wall, tackled to the ground, shackled at the hands, shackled at the feet, shackled at the waist, waist to hands, waist to feet, thrown into cold dungeons with nothing but the clothes on their back, and then shoved into planes and deported back to the countries they fled from. Shame. 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 Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
We're talking about people who have fled thousands of miles, walked with their feet, crossed rivers, crossed jungles, lost people on the way, held the eyes and the ears of their children so that they didn't have to hear the wails of people in their suffering, who have been raped, who have been robbed. Because this country makes a false promise that black people are allowed to exist here voluntarily. We should ask our African American siblings about that. Do you get to be black and voluntarily live, exist, and thrive in the United States of America? The answer is clearly no. And that's not an acceptable answer. This administration has said the first thing that President Biden did was to sign a racial equity order, an executive order that said that every department and agency needs to look and see how they can align themselves with racial equity. Is what we saw at Del Rio racial equity?
No!
The high deportation rate of black migrants in this country. We represent 77% of who is a foreign-born migrant, and yet we are 20%, 3 times our numbers, facing deportation. Does deportation of black people represent racial equity?
No!
People sleep in front of the American embassy for months trying to get a visa, while white people from all over Europe can just buy a ticket and come over here. Does the denial of visas to black people coming to this country, is that racial equity?
No!
4 and 5 different countries got temporary protective status. A status that is given to people because of the political conditions, because of crises in their country, calamities in their country. And we're not mad at those countries. But is there a country in more need of protective status than black countries of this world?
No!
Does Haiti need TPS?
Yes!
Does Cameroon need TPS?
Yes!
Mauritania need TPS?
Yes!
Ethiopia need TPS?
Yes!
The Bahamas, they're ravaged by the hurricane. Do they need TPS?
Yes!
And yet they don't have TPS. This country has space. We know it has space. It is offering space to 93,000 people from Afghanistan. And again, we're okay with that. But it doesn't have space for a single black person?
Racist.
What else can we say that Biden is anti-black? What else can I say but Biden is anti-black?
That's right.
What else can I say but the policies are anti-black?
That's right.
And so we're so glad to have you here today with us, lifting up the needs of black migrants, the need to protect black migrants. We need to stop the deportations. Let's hear it. Stop the deportations. 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 We need to end Title 42. End Title 42.
End Title 42!
End Title 42.
End Title 42!
End Title 42.
End Title 42!
We need to let people claim asylum.
Yes!
We need to let people claim asylum. What do black people have to do for folks to know we are suffering?
That's right.
What has to happen to us? You know what I'm saying? What has to occur? I understand we're asking a lot of a country where the police will pull out someone who is paraplegic and drag them out and put their neck in their back. I understand. We're asking a lot for them to see black humanity, given the history of this country. But we demand it nonetheless. It is demanded that we will protect and respect black people.
Right.
When black people are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When black people are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
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 Thank you so very much. Appreciate you.
Yay.
I want to bring up my brother, Pastor Q. Pastor, I'm going to bring you up. Come out here from Los Angeles, part of our cadre there. Coming from us from St. Lucia, then through New York and some other places. Black migrant extraordinaire. Thank you so much, Pastor Q.
Let's give it a Fanana.
Yay!
As already been communicated, my name is Pastor Q. I pastor the church without walls in Skid Row, Los Angeles, which is America's houseless capital. And we say in Los Angeles, that's houselessness. We don't say homelessness because folks are home. They just got kicked out of their house, right? Because of gentrification and some other stuff. Can I get a right on? And so we say houselessness, and our folks in Los Angeles, we say houselessness is a racial justice issue just like everything else in this nation. And the reason we say that, we know that America does not have a problem with immigration. America never really had a problem with immigration because we know during the second great migration of African folks who had just been let go by the ancestors of some of you guys, right, who had just been let go without anything, by the way, without housing, without any refuge, right, without anything to build upon, being sharecroppers, when about 600,000 of those folks were migrating north, west, and even down south into Mexico after they were supposedly freed on paper. Are y'all understanding what I'm talking about? After Juneteenth, are you understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth? After that, they were migrating, fleeing from the KKK. They told you it was because they were trying to find jobs. That is the whitewashed version of that history. But actually what they were doing, what they were running from the KKK, fleeing white violence, as they were fleeing white violence in Del Rio. And so after that, what happened was America immigrated on purpose during the Industrial Revolution. At the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, America immigrated on purpose. 1.2 million poor Europeans, gave them land grants, gave them land, taught them how to farm the land, right? And they did that because they didn't want this new wave of black folks who were coming from the South to actually take over the nation, the percentage of the nation, the thing that they're fighting even today, that Donald Trump is afraid of, right? And so they immigrated poor Europe. America always had an issue with black immigration. America only wanted black folks for one thing, and that is to build the country and to serve them and to provide them with culture and to provide them with everything we have. And at the end of the day, they want to throw us in the trash. No more, no way, ain't gonna happen. And we're here today to say no more, no way, it ain't gonna happen. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Pastor Q. Appreciating that, laying down the foundation to have the understanding. How many of you know, with a show of hands, there are 100,000 undocumented Irish people in this country? Do you know that? 100,000. If it was all about trying to round up undocumented people, which we are totally against, we're happy they're walking around enjoying their lives. But if that was really what this was about and not about race, every St. Patrick's Day, you would find Irish people hiding under their beds. They would not be in the streets pinching each other, or not, because they're wearing green. They would not be in their pubs happily drinking, enjoying their lives. But we know people who do not go to Carnival, as it's out in New York, in D.C., in San Francisco, whether it's Brazilian Carnival, whether it's Jamaican Carnival, whether it's Trini Carnival, they don't come out because they know that ICE will be there. It's a totally different way of living, a totally unacceptable way of living. And we say no more. We say no more.
No more.
We say no more.
No more.
We say no more.
No more.
I am going to call on, this brother just came and talked to me, but I got to call on you. My brother Damon from Lawyers Committee, who's come out, joined us. Thank you so very much for joining us and for speaking on this issue. Lawyers Committee has helped us. We have had to sue people, sue on behalf of black folks, and talk about our blackness, because no, we don't have the same experience as other migrants, even other migrants of color. And so we thank you so very much, Brother Jamin, for joining us.
Thank you, Sister Nada. Give her a round of applause for her leadership. You know, as someone who's new to the leadership of a national civil rights organization, we rely on people who are proximate to the work, are proximate to the issues, people who we look up to like Nana, like Judith Brown Dianis from Advancement Project, to remind us of simple clarity on things that we all know, but it's easy to forget when you're inside this beltway and focused on high-minded policy. We remember the clarity that race is criminalized and crime is racialized. That's true on the streets, that's true in our schools, and that's also true at the border and through immigration policy generally. We also remember just the legacy. We know how black people got to this continent. How can it be? How can it be that people of African descent can be brought to this continent involuntarily, treated as property, their lives upended, their traditions and heritage uprooted, our opportunity to transfer anything from one generation to the next besides our thoughts and our words completely scuttled, and to this day locked out of opportunity, locked in, trapped in the trap, but also locked out in terms of immigration policy. The irony, as we stand in front of the White House, about how black people are treated cannot be lost. And all it takes is simple honesty and clarity. This is not a policy debate. This is right and wrong. Now, we are told, well, at the border in Texas, the Haitian migrants were treated like we would treat anybody else. First of all, we don't believe that, number one. But number two, if that's how other people are treated, that still ain't good enough, right? Because we're not here to say this is just black people's problem. This is everybody's problem. We're not saying this is the black community's issue. This is everybody's issue. This is about basic human rights and dignity. And if getting there takes a change in practices, like don't use fake manufactured whips to threaten people, then do that. If getting to human dignity requires a change in policy through executive action, we need to get there. If it takes a change in policy via congressional action, we'll get there. If it takes for us to hit the streets as we're about to, or to file lawsuits as we've done at the Lawyers Committee on behalf of BAJI and Liberian migrants and others, we'll do that again too. Any way it takes, we're going to get there. Just to make this simple, clear point about what people deserve. We're not asking for a favor. We're not asking for something special. We're asking for what is right and what is deserved, and that's what we stand for. Thanks for having us today. We're happy to be in solidarity.
Yeah! Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Damon. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much. We know that this administration has betrayed its promise.
Yes.
It made a promise during its campaign, both separately, even when President Biden and Vice President Harris were running against each other. Both of them made promises about what they would do on behalf of immigrants of color, including black migrants. I remember when FIRM, the Fair Immigration Reform Movement, had the first presidential conversation, right, with people who wanted to be presidential, who were presidential candidates. And that was in Pasadena. And I had the opportunity to ask directly Vice President Harris, a black woman from the Caribbean, who have both of her parents came, though she tells other people don't come. I remember asking her directly whether or not she would be willing to impose and bring racial equity into the immigration policy, particularly around ending the criminalization of migrants and black migrants. And she said yes. That in fact, if she became president, that's what she would do. She didn't become president. She's the vice president. Is President Biden in her way?
No.
Does she need to have a conversation with us so we can see how we can pressure him to listen to black women and pay attention to her if that's what she's saying? And if that's not what she's saying, what is she saying? Because at the end of the day, we haven't heard from her. Have you heard from her?
No.
Do you know where she is?
No.
You haven't heard from her.
No.
Where in the world is Kamala? Kamala. Kamala, oh, where in the world is Kamala? We don't know. We don't know where she is, but we need her now more than ever. In fact, we wrote a letter to her from the Until We're Free table, asking her to intervene. We said, we've already talked to President Biden. We've talked to Secretary Mayorkas. They don't seem to get it. We think you'll get it. And you can go online, you can go to our website, BAJI's website, and you can see that letter where we ask her to intervene. This is before Del Rio. And we've asked her again since. And so far, we've gotten nothing. We hope to get more. I'm going to bring up my sister, Peniel. Peniel, where are you? Please come up here and share some words. She is a dear comrade, a sister comrade, a warrior comrade. Please give it up for Pena.
Thanks, Nana. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a good day to be black. It's a good day to be in solidarity with black migrants. It's a good day to protect black migrants. It would always be a great day to stand by the promises that we've made to our loved ones. I'm Penel Ube, and I'm with the American Friends Service Committee and the Interfaith Immigration Coalition. And we are reaffirming our solidarity with our black migrant brothers and sisters and loved ones across the world. You don't care where you're coming from or where you're going to. Migration is a human right, and what we care is that you're exercising your human rights, and we vow to protect that ability. We also vow to welcome with dignity. We vow to lead with love in this work. Last night we had a vigil honoring the lives and the struggles of the 100+ Cameroonian migrants who were forcefully deported a year ago under the Trump administration without giving them legal recourse to seek asylum. We stood in solidarity as we heard one of the brothers of the individuals who was shackled and put on a plane for 20+ hours talk about how his brother felt in that space. Talk about how it reminded him of the experiences of our enslaved African-American ancestors. And so we vowed in that moment to never let it happen again. And we're making sure that we are shining light on all the atrocities. Imagine if we didn't see the images in Del Rio. Imagine if we did not see the images in Del Rio. Imagine if we did not see the images in Del Rio. They would have wiped away 7,000+ Haitian brothers and sisters, loved ones, trans folk, queer folk, children. They would have wiped them away under the cause of a fictitious law called Title 42. This work, no matter how few we are, the fact that we can shine light of it means history will not go without our stories being told. As a person of faith, I understand the need to record things. The Bible is recording every little thing and every generation. And so for me, it is important to make sure that I'm on the right side of history, standing by those I call loved ones, by those I call community. Immigration is a black issue. It's not also a black issue. It's not kind of a black issue. It's not a blackish issue. It is a black issue. We know that your immigration status in the United States and around the world is preference with your proximity to whiteness. And if your proximity to blackness is higher than the ratio of your proximity to whiteness, then you understand the true meaning of borders. It is no surprise to us that those who created these fictitious borders decide who gets to cross it and how. Nana spoke about sitting in front of embassies. I have had my fair share of sitting in front of embassies. I don't even have my passport now because I'm sitting in front of an embassy virtually. Because I want to visit somewhere, because I want to be with loved ones and family members. We also understand that it's not just about citizenship, because there are many who have the cover of American citizenship that are exposed to the brutality of the systems of enforcement in the United States, that are exposed to the brutalities of the systems of anti-blackness that we see in housing, we see in feeding, we see in education, we see in transportation, we see it in agriculture, in every space. And so when we say protect black migrants, we say protect them in any form that they present themselves. You do not get to tell us how to present ourselves. It doesn't matter if we're seeking asylum in the middle of the border, on top of the border, underneath the border, at the airport. You do not tell someone how to jump from a burning building. As people of faith, as a person of faith, we are called to bring ourselves forward and to welcome with our hearts wide open. And so I encourage you all in this moment to do the same. Yesterday, I reflected on the fact that a lot of times we are called to bring practical solutions to this administration. To say, do X, Y, Z. I decide to lead with love. They decide what love looks like for them. I decide to lead with dignity. They decide what that looks like for them. It is enough. The Biden administration has knelt down, worn kente cloths around their necks. They have done everything but what we've asked them to do. They have done everything but what we've asked them to do. It is not just about who you elect. Biden has called himself a man of faith. We have not seen anything faith-filled. We have not seen that action towards our black migrants. And so we're calling to end Title 42, but we're also saying do not expand detention when you're ending Title 42, because we know that's the plan. We were told that they were going to end private prisons and private detention centers. We're yet to see all of that. A lot of the ones that have been closed were closed because black people spoke up. Because people like Pauline Bingham and Irwin Detention Center spoke up about forced sterilization of Cameroonian women. That was the reason why Irwin was closed. They would have allowed it go business as usual if we did not raise our voices. And so as we're asking for Title 42 to be ended, for the borders to be open, which, by the way, they were opened yesterday if people are vaccinated, the amount of money that was used to deport 7,000 Haitian migrants could vaccinate all of them and put them on a pathway to security and safety to seek a life. We're asking for the bare minimum. Not a good life, not the best life. Life. Yes. Because people are facing life and death situations where they're fleeing. And so once again, I'm asking that if you're hearing this, if this is the first time you're hearing this, you need to tell somebody. You need to tell somebody. This is not something you keep to your chest. You raise it up in prayer points. You raise it up in coffee conversations. It is uncomfortable, but that is what it looks like to stand up for justice. It is a Thanksgiving conversation at the desk. At my organization, we draft up things, how to talk about racism at your Thanksgiving table. How to talk about anti-blackness at your Thanksgiving table. We have anti-blackness in our communities as well as black people. We always say, well, I came the right way, they should come the right way. We don't get to say that. Dignity requires you honoring however the person comes forward. And so I thank you all for being here today, for joining this moment. We are few, but we are many across the country that are standing in solidarity at this moment, virtually and in person this week. But it's not a week of action, it's a life of action. It's a life of action. It's a life of action because there are many individuals who are holding on in detention centers, in treacherous journeys across jungles because they know that somebody here is standing up for them. And I'm grateful that you are that person. I'm grateful that in moments I am that person. We can do more and we will continue to hold this administration accountable. And if they don't do it, it will never be said they didn't cry out for justice because they will kill us and say we did not ask for help. And they've done so before. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Pena. When they say go away, we say no way. Go away.
No way.
Go away.
No way.
When they say go away, we say no way. Go away.
No way.
Go away.
No way.
Go away.
No way.
Go away.
No way.
Go away.
No way.
We say no way. We are here to stay.
Right.
We calling more people. You're mad about the ones that are here? We gonna bring some more. We're allowed to bring some more. We're allowed to bring some more. There's no shame in that. Sometimes we feel ashamed, like, dang, our people are embarrassing us. Our people are not embarrassing us. They are the epitome of resistance and resilience.
Yes.
That's right.
And we honor that today and every day when we protect black migrants. I'm going to bring up my sister. Woo! I haven't seen her in so long, but I'm so excited. I'm going to bring my sister Judith up. She has been so instrumental. Judith Brown-Dianis, the executive director of Advancement Project National Office, so instrumental in making sure that people understand that, yes, immigration is a black issue. And you know what else? Blackness is an immigration issue. Because they done seen a million t-shirts telling them immigration is a black issue. Right? That's a conversation to black people, to let us know. Immigration, by the way, that's a black issue. The problem we have right now is the immigration folks don't understand that we is their issue.
Right.
They don't understand that immigration is a racial justice issue.
Right.
But my sister and Advancement Project, they understand it. They get it. And so it's a natural walk together once again. Reunited and it feels so good. Sister Judith.
So I just have to let y'all know, we know each other from law school. We were on the national board of the National Black Law Students Association together. So we've been making good trouble for a long time. So again, Judith Brown-Dianis, I'm executive director of Advancement Project National Office. I'm really honored to be here. As a racial justice organization, we get it that immigration is a racial justice organization. We started doing this work around these issues because we knew that. And part of what we wanted to do was to make sure that the immigrants' rights movement knew that, because there wasn't a recognition of the fact that racial justice and immigration go hand in hand. Because when I think about immigration, I start with slavery. When I think about immigration, I think about the Chinese Exclusion Act. When I think of immigration, I think about the fact that our borders can expand when white people want to come, but when people of color come, all of a sudden we gotta close the borders and build walls. because this country is built upon a foundation of white supremacy. And it doesn't matter what country you are from, if you ain't white, you ain't welcome. For those people who talk about immigration and talk about we belong, stop using that belong language. When you use belong language, that means that you have allowed white people to decide whether or not you belong. White people don't get to decide. This is ours. Not only is it ours, it's our brothers and sisters who are indigenous to the country, that it is actually theirs. We stand on the land of Piscataway Indians, not of white people. So this is not theirs. So stop talking about we belong, white people. No, this is ours. And so for us, it's clear that this is our issue. Now, when I think about what happened in the border in Del Rio, if it wasn't clear for America and for Black Americans in particular that this issue is our issue, it should have been clear. Because it doesn't matter in this country what badge, what uniform cops wear. Cops are cops.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what agency they work for. Cops are cops.
That's
Doesn't
right.
matter if they're at the border or they're in Southeast D.C.
That's right.
Cops are cops.
Yep.
And what they know is they know how to criminalize Black bodies. That is what they operate on. And so what we saw at Del Rio was a continuation of cops being cops.
That's right.
And they saw a moment to make sure that they were in control and that we understood that they have power over us. And so that moment should have made it clear. And what did our president do? Our Democrat in the White House do? He said, well, okay, we're going to give them food and water. We're going to try and give them a little shelter. But what he did was, because he knew he had a crisis on his hands, a crisis that would bring Black people together, whether they were immigrant or not, that would bring people together, people of color together, because they understood the moment and the cops who were deciding that Black bodies did not belong in this country. He decided to disappear the people at the border. That if I got rid of the Black people at the border, they would forget. If I disappear them, the news will forget. They won't cover this story anymore. So how you disappear 15,000 bodies, 15,000 people? What do? You put them on planes. 70 plus planes. I don't care where you take them, but get them the hell up out of here. What do you do with them? You say, okay, we're going to force some of them back to Mexico because then that's Mexico's problem. What do you do with them? We're going to detain some of them and put them in deportation. We're going to put them in detention centers because we got to make sure that the private prison industry gets paid off of this too. And then what else are you going to do? You're going to let some of them go to their families, a few here and there. Some will be released, but overall, most of y'all got to get the hell up out of here. So that's what the president did. And in fact, it was a good-ass strategy because the media is not covering the story any longer. The media thinks, and Americans who have a short attention span, because Twitter is only lasts for about, 10 minutes, you see a message, is gone. So the people are disappeared. But I'm glad that we're here today to say that it's not over. You might have disappeared them physically, but in our minds, we can't unsee those moments. We can't unsee what you did to our people. We can't unsee how you treated our people and then you had nothing to say. Nothing to say. Just quiet for days while we watched. And so we see the connections, Joe Biden. We see the connections. We get it. And we can't unsee it. And so it's time to act. Time to get rid of 42. Time to make sure that these detention centers get closed down, because that's not where Black and brown bodies deserve to be or should be.
Preach.
But our people deserve better, including recognizing their humanity. So this is the work, and I'm glad we're here together because this is going to continue. But I want to make sure that the immigrants' rights movement and our friends who are carving a beautiful pathway to citizenship do not forget that black migrants deserve citizenship too. Thank you.
All right, folks, we're getting ready. Thank you so very much, Sister Judith. Excited to be here with you. You know I am. We're getting ready to do this march. We got a couple more people that we're going to hear from, but there's something that Sister Judith said about this land and what it really is. And I learned a chant from my sister Sancha out in Miami that talks about this. And it goes, I say my people, hey, ready? I say my people, hey. You know the story. Hey. We tell the whole damn world this is people's territory. I say my people, hey. You know the story. Hey. We tell the whole damn world this is people's territory. I say my people, hey. You know the story. Hey. We tell the whole damn world this is people's territory. I said my people, hey. You know the story. Hey. You tell the whole damn world this is people's territory. We know who this belongs to. This earth is our turf. Belongs to all the people. Borders be damned. It's about dignity. It's about love. I'm going to call up my brother Ruben, who helped us to organize this event. Let's give it up for Ruben. Was our DC Connect.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Y'all can hear me? Good afternoon. My name is Ruben Eccles. I work for Church World Service, and we have been in the business of working resettlement issues for over 70 years with 37 communion partners. And I want to just read something for you because we know this is not anything new. Amen? Amen. Check this out. It says, there are such things in the world as human rights. They rest upon no conventional foundation, but are external, universal, and indestructible. Among those is the right of locomotion, the right of migration, the right which belongs to no particular race, but belongs alike to all and to all alike. It is the right you assert by staying here, and your fathers asserted by coming here. It is this great right that I assert for the Chinese and Japanese and for all other varieties of men and women equally with yourselves, now and forever. I know no rights of race superior to the rights of humanity, and when there is a supposed conflict between human and national rights, it is safe to go to the side of humanity. Yes. Written 150 some odd years ago by a brother who understood that migration is also a black right. Amen? Yes. So he was already telling folk it was a black and brown human rights issue. And so we are still fighting this fight. And so my message to you, as it was 150 years ago, I always say, let us not grow weary in well-doing. For in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And so I just want to come to you and say, don't give up. Don't give in. We still got to fight to win. Amen? Amen. Don't give up. Don't give in. Because we still got to fight to win. And we're going to have to fight. It's been going on forever in this country, and we shall not give up because our ancestors are watching over us. There's a great cloud of witnesses that are standing and said, oh, what you going to do in your day? What are you going to do in your time? And so I'm so glad that you are here, and let us continue to tell the story, because some folks got tired because they went to an event on yesterday. Somebody got tired because they went to an event on last week. We can't get tired. Every day is a fight. And so we have to continue to keep one another up, keep lifting up one another. This is not a message for them. It's a message for us.
That's right. That's right.
It's a message for us. And what are we going to do? And how can we stand in our time, in our time, in our time? God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ruben. So appreciate that. Okay, so now we're going to do our march. We're going to be led by the Too Much Talent Band. Now, you know their name is so apropos to what they actually are doing. So we're going to be led by them because, you know, black folks, when we do stuff, we got to have music a part of it. Make sure that we have that energy. And so once they get together, then we're going to go behind them carrying our signs. We're going to be doing our chants with our megaphones. It's about 15 minutes away, not at a running clip, so we should, be okay. Please, folks, bring your stuff up here that you're not going to Oh, you can get shirts here. You can get signs here. So don't bring stuff, take stuff. You can get signs here as well that you can hold. If you need shirts, let us know. We're going to take a couple of minutes to get ready, lined up, and then we're heading out. Thank you so very much to Marcus and crew for helping us with legal observing. We want everyone to know that we try to make sure that we can keep people as safe as possible. Can't be totally safe because we are black people, but as safe as possible as we're doing this. Thank you so very much, folks. Let's get lined up.
Yay!
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Should we get a picture first?
Okay, folks, we're gonna get a picture first, I guess.
I mean, just with everyone.
Well, everyone can go line up. Folks, let's go line up over here. Line up over here. Man, can you please help us by lining up over here? Thank you.
This is not. We've been
Thank you for coming all the way from Los Angeles.
Thank you. No flip.
They were bringing them in at about.
Talk to Skeeter. He says, "What's up?"
Skeeter Thompson.
The other day we're here.
Yeah.
I'll be back. That's my shit right there, bro. That's me.
Skeeter Thompson. He was a bass player in Scream.
DC hardcore, old school.
Had been in Scream for an album plus one extra tour. So that's where the connection is to like a major label. All right, brother. Do you have any waters? Yeah. Okay. So
to the left or to your right, right there. Yes. So everybody behind and to the left, to the left. All right, everybody get behind.
Get behind the banner, folks! Behind the banner!
Yeah.
What do we want? Yeah. Justice!
Okay, bro. Where do we go?
Go down a little bit, and then from there, if you can't figure out anything.
Where y'all are right now is probably a good way to stay. The three of y'all up front.
All right, let's get everybody some chants in here. Nana, you want to lead a quick chant on the video?
Yeah.
I know, right?
If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then you don't get no peace. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, folks, we're lining up.
Hey, flip. Flip. Hey, flip. These bricks right here from Black Lives Matter.
okay.
Oh, look at this one.
Just Keystone
Can I
Pipeline.
Got the builder of few, Sean Rose B.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, let me Refuse shall be the head cornerstone. I'll be back to get those, okay? I gotta videotape these guys. Been all right, man? Yeah.
Okay, folks, I know you want to take your start. So we're going to give you 30 seconds. Take your picture, please, and get behind so we can start. And the truck is waiting for us at the eject. And I need someone up here that knows where they're going.
Yes.
So probably, okay, thank you.
All right, folks.
We ready?
We're ready.
Up with liberation, down with deportation.
Up with liberation, down with deportation.
Up with liberation, down with deportation.
Up with deportation, down with deportation.
Up with liberation, down with deportation.
Up with liberation, down with deportation.
no justice, we don't get no peace. We don't get no justice. We don't get no justice. We don't get no justice. We don't get no peace. We don't get no justice. We don't get no peace. We don't get no justice. We don't get no peace.
are you, buddy?
Thank you. That black migrants are here to stay. That's right. That black migrants are coming. Yes. That you won't let them in. Yes. That we're going to end the deportations. Yes. That we're going to end the detention. Yes. That we're going to end the arrests. Yes. That we're going to end the mistreatment, the torture of migrants, including black migrants, in these places they call detention centers. We're going to end the whipping. The only people who lost their job was the horses. That's not acceptable. The horses were not the problem. It was the racist. Okay, sorry about the cuss. It was the racists on the horses whipping our people with leather straps, whether you call them reins or whether you call them ropes. They were the ones. Racist ones who in fact needed to go. They said that they're going to do an investigation. Bonnie investigating Clyde. That's what I say. Bonnie investigating Clyde. You done scrubbed up the crime scene. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I know how it go. You got rid of all the victims. You got rid of all the witnesses. You even took a bulldozer to the ground to get rid of the forensic evidence, the DNA evidence of our people's blood, sweat, and tears. But we're here. We're here. We're here to let you know no more. You will not just disappear our people. You will not just Ajax the crime scene. You are a criminal. You are a criminal. You are violating the law. The law of the United States, international law, and the law of the ancestors that say that we can go wherever we want to go, whenever we want to go, for whatever reason we want to go there. If it's good enough for our a white man from Britain, it's good enough for me. If it's good enough for a white man from Poland, it's good enough for me. If it's good enough for a white man from Brazil, it's good enough for me. Black people get to go wherever we want to on this earth. You wouldn't exist as a people if we didn't come out of Africa trying to see what else was going on.
That's right.
We made you. You come from us. How dare you treat your grandmother this way? How dare you treat your grandmother this way?
How dare
I don't
you?
care if you're white. I don't care if you're Latinx. I don't care if you're indigenous. I don't care if you are Asian, Pacific Islander. I'm your grandmama. Black people brought you into this world. And we didn't do it by conquest. We didn't do it by rape. We didn't do it by pillage. We don't know where you got that rule book from, other than the pits of hell. We didn't do it by any of those means. We did it in a way that was welcoming. We did it in a way to build relationship. We had relationships with indigenous people in this country hundreds of years before. We had relationships with black jewelry and caves in Britain from thousands of years ago. We know how to migrate. You the problem. Because as a Pastor Q said, all migration is fine until it's us who want to migrate. And we say no more. We say no more. We've come to your doorstep, not to beg, but to let you know. We're going to keep on fighting. And we know that when we fight, 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 and we gonna keep on fighting you. There's not enough that you can do in the darkness that we won't shine a light on. The light that cleans and clears. We gonna get rid of all these moldy corners that you've been sitting in and dragging our people into. Be they detention centers, be they prisons, be they jails. We won't stop till we dismantle it all and get you all some new occupations that don't include enforcement. Let me stop before I start going somewhere. Let me stop. I'm gonna bring up Pastor James. Gonna bring up Pastor James to share with us. All the way from Los Angeles. Give it up for Pastor James.
What you got to say?
Well, I really don't have anything to say other than the Word of God. Let's go there. This country claims to be a Christian nation. This country claims to be a Christian nation. How can you claim to be Christian when you refuse to read your Bible? When you refuse to do what the Bible says? You have created a Western version of Christianity that is apostasy, masquerading as the true faith tradition. You are nothing more. You are nothing more than those who existed and worshiped in Babylon, the things that you have created. So let's get to what the Word of God says and why you're going to be indicted this day. Y'all give me a minute. I'm wrestling with a messed up hand, but here it is. Listen to this. All of you all who protect Babylon, this is what the scripture says. In Leviticus 19, 33 through 34, it says, when a stranger resides with you in your land, you shall not wrong him. The stranger who resides with you shall be as you, one of your citizens. You shall love him as yourself. For we're strangers, for you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. Now let me tell you something. You wasn't strangers in the land of Egypt. Black folk were strangers in the land of Egypt. You were occupiers, colonizers, rapists, and criminals in the land of Egypt. And so it's important that you understand, and I've come here to tell you one thing. I've come to introduce you to the Christ that you claim you know. America can never be a real Christian nation, because then America would have to give up its white supremacy. And America is never going to give up white supremacy, because America is never going to worship the true African God, which is Jesus Christ. Yeah, he black. Yeah, he black. So was his mama. And so is, while you looking for black presence in the Bible, you ought to be looking for European presence in the Bible, because it ain't in there. And so I've just come to say to my brothers and sisters who are out here today, those who support migrants, those who support black people, those who center black people, I've come to say to you, keep fighting. Keep fighting. Because we know how this goes. We are abolitionists. That's what we do. That's who we are. That's how we move. And soon, and very soon, we're going to abolish every white supremacist policy that is propping itself up as what is best for this country. I just got one thing to say to the migrants. And this is a speech that I want you to say every time somebody says something to you in terms of trying to get you to leave. See, those of us who believe in God know that we have a power that's greater than man. And so when somebody says something to you about leaving, I want you to stick your chest out and say, I'm not going anywhere. Say that with me. I'm not going anywhere. See, that's what we call in the church a prophecy. We prophesying today. We ain't going nowhere. You can tell Biden, Kamala, and anybody else, all the liberal white supremacists, and the white supremacists in blackface, that we ain't going nowhere. And that if you're not trying to help us as black people, if you're not trying to support us as black people, we're not going to do like we did in the 60s. We're going to fight back. We're going to fight back. God bless you all.
All right. Thank you. All right. I'm going to bring a comrade. Lord, my voice is gone. I don't know what I sound like. This is not going to work. Our brother Bilal Askariar. We have worked together on the Muslim and African ban, making sure to get rid of that and making sure that this country does not discriminate against folks based upon their race, based upon their ethnicity, based upon their religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other reason. A true comrade who has been side by side with us. Thank you so very much, Bilal.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here, and it's also a shame to be here. Why do we have to be here yet again, demanding that the people in this office building treat people like human beings? Why do we have to do that again? I don't know if you all noticed, but when we got here, it was really well orchestrated. All of their vans turned around, made a U-turn. They were waiting for us. If they can be so organized and so thoughtful in their response of how they're gonna treat this small protest, why couldn't they have treated the same people at the border who are asking us for protection with dignity? I want to say, as an Afghan person born in Afghanistan, it's good that the United States is welcoming and taking in people from Afghanistan, But not until my black siblings are free and safe, none of us are safe. Hey, go ahead. Hello? Yeah. That's it. I'll keep it short. Thank you, Nana, for your leadership. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. Not until we are all safe, none of us are safe.
Thank you. We want welcome for everyone. We want safety for everyone. We even talk about Afghanistan and what happened in Afghanistan. But they didn't have this kind of order for that.
Nope.
They left people behind that needed help. They didn't have the sauce for folks who needed help in Afghanistan that they seem to have to get rid of Haitians, Cameroonians, Angolans, Congolese, and others who are coming here for safety. They knew how to handle them. 5 planes a day, 6 planes a day. They knew how to handle them. So thank you so very much. That's our truck, everyone. Give it up for the truck. Give it up for the truck. Our messaging is going all over D.C. It's going all up into Maryland, stopping at significant stops for black folks and for black migrants, going through our neighborhoods and yours to make it clear that black migrants are here and are not going anywhere. That we will come, that we will stay, that we will live and that we will thrive right here in the United States of America. I want to thank you all again. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being a part of this. I'm going to bring up our brother Ron to remind folks of what we need to do from here on out. Thank you. He's our new Director of Policy and Advocacy, y'all. Give him some love.
All right, guys, thank you everyone for coming out here. So just a couple of things before we go to remember that this fight continues. We need you all to call your representatives, your members of Congress, let them know that we want to halt deportations immediately. We want to provide humanitarian parole for Haitians. And most importantly, we want to protect black migrants in any form and in all places. So please call your representatives. And then at the end of the day, too, if you're looking for another action or how to stay involved, please visit our website at BAJI.org, BAJI.org, where we'll have more information on actions that come, as well as the work we're doing to make sure that we protect black migrants. So thank you all for coming, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
All right. Last piece before we head out. Go ahead. Can we hear from the band? Give us some energy. While they're working on that, when black migrants are under attack, what do we do? When black migrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back.
deportations no more. We don't want deportations no more. We don't want deportations no more. No more, no more. We don't want deportations no more. We don't want deportations no more. We don't want deportations no more. No more, no more. We don't want.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate you. Too much talent. Too much talent. Thank you so very much. Thank you. All right. Let's head out. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
We need to talk. I wasn't in the contract.
Let's go into it.